Hi guys, you are listening to Vol. Unless you've been living under a rock, you will have heard of World War, which is the new tier list by the new Circle Ouroboros warlock, Bradigus. And it's been all over the forums. There was a 40-page thread which got shut down in the general forum, and there was pretty much a thread in every different sort of faction section talking about it. In my opinion, Privateer Press has obviously made a mistake. Most people feel that way because the tier list is overpowered. Bradigus is able to assassinate you from too far away, too effectively, and the sheer amount of shield guard and free forests is just too much. I think if there were less, let me put it a different way, if he didn't get the extra set of shifting stones, it wouldn't be as bad. If the tier list was something like, including druids or including I don't know, black-clad wayfarers, it would probably make a little bit more sense. But as it stands, we have to sort of play against this if you feel like playing War Machine Hordes at the moment, until they eventually nerf it. Have to make the extremely important point that it's not Bradigus himself who is overpowered. There's not a problem with that. It's the tier list in particular, and most experienced players agree with that. I played a game against him last week. It was my first game. I used Iris 1. I played it pretty well. I got ahead in attrition, but there wasn't anything I could do to stop the assassination, even though there was no kill box. It was just a matter of teleporting him essentially 24 inches and killing me very easily. This time I'm rematching against the same opponent with Mohsar. Had a little bit of time to think about it, and Mohsar is not a hard counter. He just has some game. There's some things he can do. The Pillars of Assault do not trigger synergy. They can't be killed by the World Watcher's guns. They can prevent some of the shift from the Bradigus feat. I don't think, obviously, Mohsar is going to be a brilliant tournament option. He's not very good against a lot of matchups, but I just wanted to see how this one went. We rolled up randomly for scenario, and it was close quarters. Note also that in my normal Mohsar list I run a Celestial Fulcrum. I've swapped that out for a Walled Guardian. I thought that would be more effective. Although, having thought about it some more, I'm actually considering changing the Walled Guardian for a Feral Warp Wolf. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. So this particular game it will feature a kill box, and it didn't last time I played Bradigus, so I actually have to keep Mohsar, within that sort of 30-inch bubble that Bradigus is capable of. Deployment here was got the Wolf Riders on the right, planning on abusing that forest a little bit. Greg, my opponent, won the roll for first turn, so he'll be shunting up straight away. I think Sunhammer is actually kind of useful in this matchup, because if you damage the World Watchers even slightly and then take out one of their, for example, their spirit with some shooting, or like an assault from a Wolf Rider, if you can take out that spirit, it does make a big difference. Just to note, here's Greg's side of the things in the next photo. He is running a Walled Warden, and I think the default, or the most popular version of this tier list has 2 Walled Guardians. In this particular game, as you'll see, it doesn't actually make a big deal, big difference that is. But I've actually put the Wolf Rider prey target on the Sentry Stone on the left-hand side of this photo, and the Blood Tracker's prey target on the Sentry Stone on the right-hand side of the photo. Not sure if those prey target choices were correct. I think, I was thinking about putting them on World Watchers. It's harder for him to reposition the World Watchers, whereas the Sentry Stones can reposition a little bit more easily. So that's the way I decided to do it. Greg didn't really punish me for, I think, my mischoice there. But I think in future practice I'll probably just pick one of the World Watchers to prey target with. My thinking was with the Wolf Riders that if they came around the flank, then they should be able to pick off that stone pretty easily. Plus, if any of the little stick dudes went out the front and didn't turn into forest, then I'd be able to kill them more easily. But yeah, I think that that was just a first-time mistake with this matchup. As mentioned, the Bradigus list has taken first turn and has moved forward and just put up all of the stuff. The forests have come out from the stick dudes. I'm going to call them stick dudes because I cannot remember their name. And the Watchers have just moved forward and, forced once, put up their, their +4 armor ability, and so on. You can see a little wooden template on the hill. That's just to represent a Wold Watcher that would otherwise have fallen off the hill terrain template otherwise. And of course the stones in their triangular formation with Bradigus around the back, so that he can threaten from maximum distance. Going to the next image. This is my turn 1. Killbox is not in effect at this point, so Geomancy from Megalith onto the Wolf Riders, which have run behind the forest. I think they're safe from World Watchers at that point. Mohsar's moving up and keeping 2 transfers. Note the positioning of the 2 pillars of salt. That's these white template sort of models here. I've made some scenic bases for the pillars. Are positioned such that if he does decide to go crazy and feet now and send like 3 Watchers into my heavies, it's just, it's not doable. You might be able to get one of them into the Stalker, and that's just not enough. If he tries to teleport to Bradigus at this point and beat back his way to Mohsar, I just don't think he's going to have enough attacks to kill him, because he can't charge up the synergy. That's an important difference. So Mohsar's safe with 2 transfers and a little bit of stuff blocking him at this point, because the Watchers can't charge up. And if Bradigus gets there with like 4 Fury left or something like that, Mohsar will probably survive, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's such a powerful assassination. But if he does, if he for example shifts 1 stone at this point, then teleports Bradigus twice, then uses the shift and ends up right in front of where Megalith is, he'd have to use one of his attacks on the pillar, which wouldn't trigger a beatback, and then he'd have to attack Megalith like a couple of times, maybe once or twice, and then get to Mohsar. At which point, yeah, he might be able to attack Mohsar. Say, I mean, let's say it was 4 times. I transfer the higher dice rolls, and then I suck it up with the lower ones, and Mohsar's still living. So I'm happy with that position. Next image, you can see the Wolf Riders. They have Mirage, sorry, not Mirage. Yeah, it's called Mirage. It grants Apparition. Plan there is just to spread them out a bit further and then keep going. Notice their prey target is on that sentry stone, which you can see in the background there. So if I can rush in and take that out, then I can switch it over to the Wold Watcher that's on the flank furthest towards me. Next image, here's what I've done with the Blood Trackers. Conveniently they have stealth, so it's not going to be possible for the Wold Watchers to get in range to shoot any of them. I'm hoping that this sort of cautions him a bit to sort of spread his troops out, or just commit to one side of the board, allowing me to surround him. If he goes towards these guys, they can always retreat. If he goes away from them, then they can get onto the flank and eventually start attacking shifting stones, which really makes my life a lot easier if I can get to that point. Also, by staying at arm's length like this, I really slow the game down, and eventually as sentry stones run out of fury. I think probably the Bradigus player in this situation should probably just keep the stick guys back and not actually make the forests, because there's nothing I can actually do against, say, Legion, or, well, not Legion obviously, but Signar or a shooting heavy army that doesn't ignore forests. Then putting the forest down is fine, or against stuff that's just going to charge your front. But when your opponent puts a ring around you like this, I just don't think it's necessary to use the stick dudes straight away. Next image, just a bit of a look at what he does in his turn 2. He's actually chosen to teleport his Wold Warden, or at least move him towards the Blood Trackers and throw a rift at them, which misses automatically. It did scatter and clip 2 of them, but he rolled, very, very low. I think like less than 5 on 2 dice on both rolls, so I didn't actually lose any Blood Trackers here, which was very convenient for me. And when the Wold Watchers moved in range to shoot, it turned out that they weren't in range of stealth. So next image, here is the end of Bradigus turn 2. He's actually chosen to move his entire formation away from the Wolf Riders and towards the objective and the Blood Trackers. He's not put Bradigus in base to base with the objective, so he's not scoring yet. Besides, the scoring only happens at the end of my turn 2, and I'd have an opportunity to move in one of the trackers to contest. But there it is, still in an unassailable position. I've got Sunhammer up, but it's not actually in range because I've been very conservative with Mohsar. So, looking at this, here's the end of my turn 2. What I've done is I've run the Wolf Riders right around to the rear flank, and this puts them in a situation where I can hopefully assault something. And I've moved the Stalker on the right into the forest with Prowl. Mohsar is nowhere near the objective. He's actually on the absolute corner of the kill box, both on my table edge and the table edge to my right. I actually measured it out. He's just absolutely on the corner of it. You can see 2 pillars of salt in front of him and 2 transfers. I spent about 5 minutes thinking about what to do here. We weren't using a death clock. Both of us took ages. But the thing about this position is that Bradigus can still teleport over. He can kill one of the pillars, he can attack Megalith and beat back his way into melee range of Mohsar. Now, again, this still won't actually work for Bradigus because he can't charge up the Watcher's synergy. If he gets there and he's attacking Mohsar, he's still probably only got like 4 Fury left by the time he does that. Don't forget you've actually got to either upkeep synergy or just not use synergy at all, and if you're not using synergy at all, then it's way harder to kill him because you've got a boost to hit. And the damage is not really going to be enough. I think your dice -1 or something like that. I can't remember the stats. So I think I'm okay. I think I'm fine. If Bradigus really can kill you like that, then great. But I believe that the Bradigus assassination is powerful because of the feat. And in this situation, if he goes over there and feats, he's not going to be able to get the Watchers in range really. Next image, here's a look at where the Wolf Riders actually are. This is before he's actually moved away from them, so yeah, they have to sort of make up a bit of ground at this point. But the good thing is that I'm controlling the game to some extent. He's going to be able to start scoring further before I can, and for me to move Mohsar into range of my flag and stop it from being contested does put me in range of a serious assassination. So, next photo, you can see where the Wolf Riders are sort of moved around to, and then he's actually moved back a bit. He's moved Bradigus in range of the flag, and he's just tightened up formation. He's got all of the stones in a bunch, he's got stuff right next to the Watchers for Serenity, and I'm just not in range to really attack him at this point, except with maybe the Wild Guardian and getting a couple of Wolf Riders in range to charge. So we're both playing it very conservatively, which has turned into quite an interesting game. So next image just shows you a bit more detail. This is the same position, that's just more of a close-up. Some of the Watchers have 2 Fury on them. The Fury is represented by the green gems. The blue token, I think, is their ability, just to represent the fact they have the ability of a +4 armor up. And the other token there is just for whatever else they have, some other ability, I can't remember. The Animus, maybe. No, I don't think it's the Animus. It's, yeah, the Animus for free. I can't remember. Next image, anyway. What I decided to do, and again, this might be a misplay, I decided to assault the Sentry Stone with one of the Wolf Riders, which is the prey target, and send in the second one with the assault throw to finish it off. I did the maths, and with just one assault, I couldn't kill it because of the shield guard. Going in there at power 11, dice -7 on the first attack, and then with the wolf at power 14, I think on average dice rolls I leave it one or 2 boxes, whereas with 2 of them throwing spears, he can shield guard 1 and then the other one takes it out. I thought about sending in the other ones just assaulting random targets, but the problem with that would have been that if Bradigus needed to in the next turn, he just sends his stuff that way, kills 5 Wolf Riders, and just leaves it at that. In which case, the long game becomes much harder for me. I'm sort of relying on the Wolf Riders for a bit of damage once you put the Curse of Shadows out. By the way, the good thing about Curse of Shadows is that Megalith can Geomancy it, and he can do it from further away than the counterspell ability that he's got can prevent it. I can't remember the name of that spell. Something wards, Mystic Wards, something like that. Anyway, what happens here is that the Wolf Riders successfully take out the Shifting Stone and shift the prey target onto the Watcher in the foreground. So this means that the Watcher in the foreground can't really afford to go anywhere. He can't exactly run it to his corner of the table. So the Wolf Riders should be able to take that down. Then I can move the prey target either to Bradigus or to the Shifting Stones, depending on what's closest to them. So Apparition really coming in handy. Next photo, here's something quite crucial. I've teleported the Wild Guardian to his battle line. That could be a mistake. Before I did that, I moved Megalith in range next to the flag there and used Geomancy to put Curse of Shadows on one of the Watchers that the Wild Guardian was in contact with. Then I activated the Wild Guardian, killed one Watcher, and severely injured the second Watcher. So, doing this, I'm essentially allowing him to kill one of my Guardians. Well, my Guardian. I don't have 2 of them, just the Guardian. If he does that, he could be up on attrition. He can also kill 2 Wolf Riders this turn. I've run the blood trackers around so that one of them's contesting the flag so that he doesn't score. And then here's the most important play. Mohsar actually charges Megalith in the back, which is annoying because he's got erosion and it actually did like 5 damage to Megalith or something stupid, and scores a point, but Mohsar's camping 6. Now obviously the weakness of this play is that, number one, Bradigus has the option of just wiping out the World Guardian and 2 Wolf Riders and then just camping, or number 2, Bradigus can just double teleport and attack Mohsar with 5 Fury. He needs 1 to upkeep synergy, but he's got his initial plus 5 Fury. That's 6 attacks total straight to Mohsar's face with synergy plus 6, essentially. So if he does that, Mohsar can transfer like 6 times, but all my beasts are probably going to die. The Wall Guardian will be dead at that point, and I've only got 3 other beasts, and they're not, you know, the Circle War beasts. They're not like Hador Warjacks. They'd probably be really in a lot of pain. So if he does opt for that, Mohsar could die. If he doesn't kill Mohsar, I may end up having to sacrifice my beast to do it. If it's just Mohsar and the Gorax left, can I kill Bradigus when he's camping nothing? Probably. I mean, you've got to bear in mind that if Mohsar has a few points left, he can then, you know, cut and attack or put Curse of Shadows on. I mean, conceivably, I'd be able to attack Bradigus at that point with the Blood Trackers and maybe the Shifting Stone guy, but yeah, it's pretty thin. The other important play here is the Pillar of Salt next to the World Guardian. I thought that was the best play because it sort of creates a traffic jam where it's so much harder for him to get his World Watchers into the Guardian, and he can't use synergy there. But we'll find out what happens with that shortly afterwards. Next photo, of course, just has a look at what the deal is. We've got 1 Blood Tracker in range of the objective, and as you can see there, Bradigus is fine. He's within range of the stones. I don't think the Guardian is within range of the stones though, so that's that makes a bit of a difference. Next image, just taking a look further back out, you can see he's got a Walled Warden on the left hand side, which is not going to be in range of the Wall Guardian, and due to the Shifting Stones packed in behind those Watchers, yeah, again, they might only end up being base enough for 3 of the Watchers up against the Guardian. We'll see how it goes. So next image, my opponent, after talking to me about it for 5 minutes, we discussed it, and he decided he couldn't go for attrition. Could he go for attrition though? You guys be the judge. You're watching this video. Do you think that the Bradigus player can kill the Guardian, kill the 2 Wolf Riders, and then win later on? If he does that, then I can commit another one of my beasts. I would probably be on 2 points to his 1, or 2 to 2 at that point, I suppose. I would have a bit of trouble sort of killing his whole army in the long run, but I've got the trackers. I'd have 3 more Wolf Riders, I'd have 2 heavies plus the Gorax, and Mohsar can still send in the spells, and as he starts to lose synergy, then it becomes easier and easier for me, but I'm running out of guys as well. Let me know in the comments or whatever you like, but I think that he probably could have gone for it. Greg didn't feel particularly confident that he could do it, but yeah, I think that in the end of the day, just going for attrition might have been the better play for him. But I mean, I still had a definite shot at the game if he does go for attrition. I mean, if I send beasts in there and kill, you know, 3 Watchers in the next turn, does he have enough to ruin me? Maybe. I'm not sure. Next photo, he decides to actually move the shifting. Sorry, on the photo that we were at just previously, he's decided to go for the assassination. He teleports the Sentry Stone behind the Walled Guardian and removes 1 Fury from Mohsar, which takes me down to 5 transfers, which I thought was a really cool play. Will 5 transfers be enough? Not sure. But the cool thing about, you know, this list in general is that it can do that, and making the assassination easier and easier for Bradigus if it didn't already need the help. So over now to the photo where the Walled Warden moves up. I couldn't be bothered looking up the rules for structures, but I do believe it's possible just to cast a power 14 spell like Rift at the pillar and kill it, which I had forgotten about. So the Warden does remove the pillar, which sort of negates my plan somewhat, and he's able to go in there with 3 Watchers. The important thing is, though, that the Warden himself doesn't trigger synergy, and the Walled Watcher leftmost in the photo can't trigger it either, because there's only enough space for the 3 Watchers in the front to get to the Walled. So once again, if he was going to do a attrition game here, you know, he'd be able to kill the Guardian, and his formation would be broken up a little bit. I could then start focusing on some of the Watchers and possibly keep the Warden out of range in the next turn, because he's slightly out of position now, and there's no stones to teleport him. Next photo, after charging up a couple of synergy spots with the Watchers against the Walled Guardian, he charges in with his Walled Guardian of his own and kills 2 Wolf Riders, bumping up the synergy even more. And again in the next photo, he actually moves a 4th Watcher around to the Guardian, instead of using that Watcher to attack the Wolf Rider, which is what I thought he might have done. And we realized at this point that if he kills my Guardian, I get to take the 2 Fury on him at this point. He's lost 1 Fury because of the Sentry Stone, but Mohsar would go up to 7 transfers from 5 if he kills it. So what he ended up doing after we talked about it was just to flick him lightly with the 4th Watcher that comes in the background there. There's a bit of a gap, without killing him. So I think what he ended up doing is leaving him on like 6 boxes, which gives Mohsar another target to transfer to, helping me out a lot, but it reduces, you know, my transfers. I was actually happy with that. I thought that, you know, inevitably Bradigus is going to come in and, you know, roll low on one of his hits, doing like, say, 7 or 8 damage, in which case I just transfer to the Guardian and take 2 on Mohsar, which works out very well. Next photo, Bradigus now teleports over here. As you can see, he can actually use his feet to shift to the right, putting him in front of Megalith and the flag, and apparently flags do not block line of sight, so that means Bradigus can now attack me. We now, of course, remember that he has to upkeep synergy for 1, so he has 5. He has 5 Fury. I have 5 Fury. He can attack me 6 times, but I am going to have to sort of spread it out, the damage quite a bit. So next photo, here he is in combat with Mohsar, and you know, I can just tell you what happens here. He rolls pretty much average, maybe a little bit below average, but had he rolled average, I actually win the game. Because Megalith's got plenty of life. So long as Megalith survives with, say, 1 aspect, he can basically heal D3 in the maintenance phase and pick up 1 or 2 more and basically get his Spirit, which allows me to kill Bradigus using his Animus, basically. I took maybe half damage on the Stalker. I took 1 hit on the Gorax. Mohsar himself got down to 6 life. I obviously transferred 1 to the Guardian. But at the end of the day, Mohsar was still there, and that allows me to win the game. So it was a really interesting game, really technical game. I quite enjoyed it. Just because I won this game does not mean that, you know, Bradigus is so super beatable and he's not overpowered. Yes, he is overpowered. If you look back carefully through this game, you'll be able to identify maybe some mistakes that the Bradigus player made. You, in this situation, might have opted to go for the attrition, in which case Bradigus might have had a really easy time winning. But, you know, this is a real game, real people, making real decisions. As it happened, Mohsar managed to win this one. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, and hopefully Bradigus does get nerfed very soon.